Morning, everyone. My name is Leonard Nieto. I am the president with Envision Construction and Design, and I am on the Dublin Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. I am the chair of our roundtable group. Today's roundtable is strengthening our business resiliency by partnering with PG&E. Again, my name is Leonard. I am the host for this morning, and our guest speaker today, we have Sarah Yoel from PG&E, as well as Earl Fowler. Sarah, if you could do a quick introduction of yourself and tell us what your role is with PG&E, we'd be grateful for that. Oh, Sarah's on the phone. Trying to get Earl on the line. I guess Earl's having some technical difficulties, but good morning to everyone who's with us today. How are we all doing?
Very good.
Why don't you do an icebreaker?
Well, while he's waiting, I'll introduce myself.
Okay.
I am Sarah Yoel. I'm the local government affairs rep for PG&E, who's covering Dublin. Like Claudia said, we both split Contra Costa and Alameda County, sort of along the highway lines. So I cover Alameda County basically from Oakland down to the Tri-Valley. And then Contra Costa, it's Highway 24 down to the Tri-Valley. I have been with PG&E for a little over a year. Before that, I did some consulting primarily around cannabis and large development in Alameda County. So I worked on the old Naval Hospital in Oakland, Alameda Point for a while, a lot of base redevelopment, and then helped draft the cannabis legislation in Oakland and help folks get permits for that. And then my husband had a security company that did a lot of cannabis stuff also. So if anyone wants to know anything about cannabis, I can answer your questions. Hopefully Earl's going to join on. He has a really great presentation, and I'm so sorry about the tech issues. He emailed me the presentation, but it's not loading on my end. I'm going to mute myself and try calling his cell phone again.
What's the file, Sarah?
Well, what's happening? Maybe Claudia can fill us in about what's going on with PG&E right now. What are our plans for the summer? And
well, that's a high priority. Lots of high priorities for PG&E over the summer. Of course, we have PSPS and EPSS over fire season, of course, and PSPS, most folks are familiar with. EPSS settings is, I think, what's frustrating a lot of our customers, and it's something that's a little bit newer for us. So EPSS, Enhanced Power Line Safety Settings, it's a setting that enables us to turn off power within 1/10 of a second if anything were to struck the line. So if a branch, anything were to fall into the line, it de-energizes the line. So it eliminates the possibility of a spark. And looking at statistics, since we've have had this program, EPSS, we started last year. We've eliminated 80% of possibilities of spark. So it's working. I mean, if there's no power, of course, there's not going to be a spark. But it's a little different from PSPS, since PSPS is a planned outage. Our customers get notified that a PSPS event is coming, whereas EPSS is immediate and there's no notification. So from a customer living in Orinda, where this tends to happen quite a bit, from a customer perspective, it can be frustrating, but in the long run, this is for everybody's safety. It's of course working. And like I said, we're tuning these settings so they're not as impactful, they're not as long lasting, and we can turn on power sooner. These once we turn off power, we also have to physically inspect the line to see what hit it, and that's how long it is. Sometimes it can take a couple hours to re-energize. Sarah, any luck with Earl?
He said he logged on and he could hear us, but we couldn't hear him. He was on his phone and computer, so he's trying again. He's going to resend me the presentation in PDF, and as soon as I get it, I'll get it started. But thank you for the update on EPSS. Yeah, it's definitely, there's been some news stories on it, and we've been trying to do a lot of outreach around it. I've been making the rounds with the local jurisdictions to talk about it, to make folks aware that it's happening. We started it last year, we piloted, and we basically have been able to preemptively stop a lot of potential ignitions, which, as we know, is a big deal, particularly with fire season basically being year round now. So we've been making lots of improvements, adding additional programs, lots of improvements with PSPS. Communities have been significantly less impacted by PSPS than they were in 2018, 2019, when we were having thousands of people out with several PSPS activations. Last year, a lot of communities who had those had zero. So there's been and it's, if folks have one, then they're like, well, I was impacted. But I will say the communities that were impacted by PSPS, as opposed to it being thousands of customers, in some cases, it was like 20 customers. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, those 20 customers still feel the impact, so they feel like it's significant, but across the territory, it's been significantly less. So lots of improvements and lots of things to help with the wildfire prevention.
Have you found that there's, when you talk to elected officials and leaders, is there more of an acceptance, understanding that this is a good thing? In the newspapers, all you hear about is the whining about stoppages. And I think that if you're not already doing it, talking to leaders and talking to cities and making sure that this is in everybody's best interest. But you tend to get the negativity in the newspapers.
So what we did this year, which I feel like has been great, and Claudia can attest to hers, is we reached out to all of our jurisdictions and offered what we called local government forums. And it was essentially for the city manager and their executive team to go over PSPS, EPSS, large projects coming up in that particular city, which was super helpful. So if there's like a large gas project, a large electric project, and we presented all the information and gave them an opportunity to air their grievances, to ask questions, to do that in that forum. And I personally felt like it was really great. It was a way to connect with them on a smaller level, and also an opportunity to just sort of acknowledge the shortcomings that we have had and try to move forward and address them and say, hey, like, this is a step that we're taking and making sure that we can address this and respond to you. So it was a really great thing. We're gonna be doing it every year. So we'll offer it at the beginning of every year. Not all jurisdictions took advantage and wanted to have that, and that's fair. And some jurisdictions, for example, San Ramon was like, yeah, we want it, but we want you to come to council, which we did. It's harder to sort of have an open conversation when you're at the city council versus when you're in a meeting setting with the city manager and their executive leadership team. But we're definitely trying to be more proactive in terms of saying, like, hey, this is what's going on. Let's look at what's going on in your city. What's big? What are some issues that might come up that we can address, right? Tell us what we're doing in a not great way that we need to address, right? So some cities are like, well, we have issues with you guys, in traffic control, right? So then we try to then trickle that down through the DLT. So Tanya, who's on the phone, is the DLT for Dublin. So then it gets put on a priority list, and then we have conversations with the leadership team on, like, how can we address this? This came up from this particular jurisdiction. How can we proactively look at addressing this problem so it's not a problem going forward? So, that's the stuff that you're not hearing in the news and in the media, is that stuff that we're doing behind the scenes, but we are being very proactive and trying to respond to folks and say, like, instead of waiting for cities to reach out to us, we're saying, like, hey, we know this is a problem, or we know you're having issues, like, can we talk it through?
Sarah, hi, this is Renata Taller. I'm also a planning commissioner for the city of Dublin. And I would say that it would be appropriate for PG&E to have this type of, well, not the same level of conversation you have with the city manager behind doors, but having the public exposure, it would be beneficial. So going in front of the city council or a planning commission, I think it would be beneficial.
Yeah, and we do that when we're invited to do so. And we have our community wildfire presentations that we do to city councils. So we do have those public conversations, and we have some of that stuff scheduled. But the local government forum conversation, it's important that it sort of happens with the city manager and their executive team, so we can talk through sort of those problems that we don't necessarily want to talk through at a city council level.
Understood.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so sorry. Whew. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Earl Fowler. I'm an account manager for PG&E. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Okay. Let me know if I can hear you. I could hear you for the first 30 seconds when everybody joined, and then I couldn't hear anything. So pleasure. Sorry again, but thankfully it's working. But I don't know if I can go on video. I'm afraid to, because every time I try, it drops the call. So I think it's my Wi-Fi here. Okay, so hello, my name is Earl Fowler. I'm an account manager for PG&E. I've been with PG&E for 9 years. Been with many different departments. The longest was the call center, handling, obviously, many different situations, whether it be usages, start stops, pay plan emergency calls. Went to the plant outage department to do plant outage coordinator for a couple of years. So, and then I've been in this position for it'll be 2 years in November. So I first want to kind of say how proud I am to work in this department. PG created this team to make sure our business customers not only understand our programs, but at the end of the day, to save as much money and kilowatts as possible. So we are here to help. What I do want to cover today is some information, which is safety resources, our Wildfire and PSTS, online account emergency, energy savings tools, SMB vendor diversity, energy efficiency resources, additional business resources, and then we'll close off with any questions. So. I'm really scared to touch anything. So first we'll go to safety resources, and I just want to double check, can everybody hear me still?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Great. Okay, so safety resources. Our Safety Action Center at pg.com/Safety Action Center is a great tool to have. You can discover ways to keep your business and colleagues safe with the help of PG&E. This website is such a good tool for anything to do with safety, whether it be preparing for outages, gas leaks, what to do if you see a down power line, call 811 before you dig, information on what to do before you dig, energy savings tips, and then kind of how to prepare an emergency kit. There's so much more, and then usually does change depending on the time of the season. Obviously, PSTS is approaching, so a lot of that information, will be updated. But kind of rule of thumb, we always recommend, checking this out. It doesn't matter where you're at. especially with outages, gas leaks. One thing I always recommend our customers doing, because anything to do with outages, gas leaks, whether it be a wire down, a flickering and power, we always recommend calling that in, because that is considered an emergency issue, and we need to know about it just for safety. So that is one thing. Some of the customers, it's just a flicker in lights, or there's a momentary outage. We still like to know, and we still like to investigate just for safety. So, and when reporting that, you definitely want to call our 800 number and hit the emergency line. Our emergency line is open 24 hours a day, even though we do have hours of operation. If you hit the emergency line, you'll get a live representative. So, and the next thing we definitely want, I always recommend my customers is downloading this emergency preparedness checklist. This checklist is a great tool to use to guide you, again, any situation, whether it be, practicing an emergency plan, restocking your energy supply, or emergency supply kit, having a hard copy of phone numbers, creating and updating, employee roster. So I always recommend having that, not just for yourself, but for your employees, even for your home. I have this one for my home for my daughter. So it's again a great thing I always recommend having. Another thing I've been accustomed to experiencing is scams that are going on to the through PG&E, and seems like with COVID, it's been happening more often, especially businesses. We will first of all never call a business and tell them that their power is going to be shut off within like 5 minutes. They need to pay. We'll never actually do that, and that's one of the main scams that are going on. We always tell customers, if you ever get a call, if you have any doubt, hang up, call our regular line, or go to pg.com. The main actual PG&E website will have an alert scam, like alert, let you know kind of active scans are going on. So, but yeah, that unfortunately with COVID, we're seeing a lot of that happening.
I'll add to that because my husband actually got scammed. He got a call and the PG&E 800 number is what showed up on his phone, which is why he thought it was legit. So they somehow can copy that and make it look like that's the number. So definitely never, always hang up and call the actual number yourself.
Yes, that's a great question. What they'll do is they'll call and it'll show PG&E, but then they'll actually have them call a completely different number sometimes, or take the payment over the phone. And that's one thing we'll never do. And I mean, to be quite honest, like we don't even know when power is going to be shut off. We'll tell the customer, you have up until a certain date, and after this date, we can't guarantee service. So if that makes sense. Okay, so, and then again, the PG&E.com Safety Action Center is a great tool. I have it kind of in my my file, my favorites file. I have that. My brother has a business, so he always has that there as well, because he actually also got a scam, and so that's unfortunate, and he did fall for it. So we had a long lengthy conversation on that one.
So they asking for money? That's what they
Yeah, so with businesses, it's a lot easy. It's not easier. It's actually, so when I was in the call center, I would get a call, and it would be like, for example, like we had a manager get a call saying, oh, PG&E, we got this call from PG&E, and that, and so the manager ended up calling the owner, and the owner said, just pay for it. I'll take care of it later. He paid for it, and unfortunately, they got the money. So, and it'll just stay the kind of we get a lot of the scenarios where we'll shut off your power within 15 minutes. We're going to send somebody right now. You need to make a payment. They'll either, give them instructions how to pay. And some of it's kind of like a red flag. They'll have you go into a grocery store to get like a green money card, which is kind of like they can't trace it. So it's interesting how the instructions. Unfortunately, it is they're well trained, so it's unfortunate it does happen, especially when you're getting that call that says it's PG&E. But kind of rule of thumb, I always tell, if you're in doubt, just hang up the phone, call PG&E. And technically, I mean, we get a lot of scams saying, we need a copy of your bill. We'll never ask for a copy of your bill because we already have it. So, but again, more of that information will always be at the PGE website. So I want to kind of catch up. I know we're hitting on time. So next will be our Wildfire and PSTS. I do have a 5-minute video I would like to share. Hopefully the audio still is good. I mean, well, you can hear it. So let's see. Can you see the screen?
We can see, but we can't hear. I think if we're gonna have an issue, we can just send this video to them and let's just go to the next slide.
Right. Okay. No worries. And so the pg.com/PSPS is a great website to have, especially during a wildfire season. We do a lot of outreaches. My department, my team, we do call our business customers, especially if they're in a high wildfire area, to make sure their contact information is updated. We're seeing a lot of contacts changed, a lot of movement with businesses, with people, moving different departments or no longer with the company. So we've been experiencing a lot of numbers that have changed. And obviously, when we send the notification out, the customers are not always getting them. So we're doing a lot of calls this year to make sure, our customers have the contact information updated. When you log in every time at pg.com onto your account, it'll always ask you to verify the phone numbers. And if you call into the PG PG contact center, they'll verify the contact information as well. But yeah, that's one thing we always want to do, is we always want to verify our contact information, just in case power does go off. We're contacting the right numbers. And these notifications, not just phone calls, you can send a text message. We can send a text message, and you can also receive an email. So you can definitely get multiple notifications. So kind of how our process works with the PSPS events, there's kind of a process. So it starts off with the weather, forecasted weather. So we first look at weather up to a week before an event is scheduled or an event can occur. Our weather specialists forecast potential severe weather. So if they see, weather coming with its high winds, we'll start sending a notification watch. So the notification watch notification is notifying you that an outage is likely. That will generally happen around like 2 days before the power goes out. So we'll notify you that you're in an area that that'll be affected by a PSPS. We'll let you know that there's a potential estimated. We'll let you know the potential estimated power shutoff start time and restoration time. After that, you'll get another notification. It is a warning, a notification that an outage is required, and that usually is a day before it happens. And we'll notify you in an area that you're in an area that it'll be affected by a PSPS, and we are shutting on power. Again, we'll let you know the potential estimated power shutoff time and restoration time. So after after that notification, you will get one more before the power does get shut off. So this notification will happen. We'll get notified that the power will shut off, and it'll tell you the affected areas to prevent wildfire. And when that's shut off, when power is shut off, you'll get updated notifications while we do inspections and repairs. So when the weather is, after the weather has improved, our crews will inspect our equipment, our lines, and restore power to the affected communities as quickly and safely as possible. We'll notify our customers about the estimated power restoration through social media, news, radio, and our website.
And then this is Sarah. So one thing to add here. So I think the important thing here, so with the PSPS, where you can sign up to get notifications, it's not just your home address, right? So like you can, like if you have an elderly parent that lives somewhere else, you can sign up at their address. If you have children in school, you can sign up at their address. So you can sign up to get PSPS notifications for anywhere that's important. Unlike you're signing up to get notification of just regular outages, it's just your home address that you can get those notifications on. This, you can sign up for anything. So any address, any location that you're impacted by your place of business. And I highly recommend that folks do that, particularly if you do have elderly parents or children in school, so that you know that it is coming. But like I mentioned earlier, we have made lots of improvements to PSPS outages, so they're happening, you know, less and less, but it still is important to be ready.
Exactly. I've had family members that were, my cousins go to school, up in Humboldt, and they're impacted a lot, and they actually live in dorms, so they don't have a PG&E account. So, what I, showed them what to do is, you go to our website, or you call a phone number, you enter the zip code that they're in, and then you type in your phone number, and then the way you want to be notified. So you get a notification in that area where, the power is going to be shut off. So even though if you don't have a PG&E account, you can do it by the zip code. If you live in a dorm or a location, a customer doesn't have PG&E, or again, if you have loved ones, you can always put in their zip code and you can get notified as well.
And then Earl, just a quick time check. We're going to have to go through these a little quicker.
Okay, not a problem. All right, so then after that, you'll get a power restored notification. That notification will be let you know that all the power has been restored, and then kind of give you more information. So you can always look at that information at pg.com as well. So next is the online account setup and our energy savings tools. So this is one thing I always recommend, is creating a profile. If you go to pg.com, this is the main page that you see. There's a little button that hits register. When you hit the register, you're going to want to make sure you have either your bill in front of you. Also, if you have tax ID, social security number, to create a profile. You're going to use your create a username, password, security question. You'll get logged in, and then you could be able to view kind of everything we see. So once you log in and create your account, this is your whole dashboard. This is everything that we have here. It's a great tool. Anything we see, you can see at this online account. I'm going to focus on the edit profile and alerts and setting up notifications. So when you hit the top right button, it says edit profile and alerts. This is where you sign up for outages or payment reminders. You go to click on here on the outage button, and you can select if you want to be notified by a phone call or text message. As well as payment reminders. One thing I want to talk about is the outages. It'll give you an option to, if you want to select, to do not contact at night. I always recommend being contacted any time of the day, because if there's a power outage after 8 p.m., we won't send a notification out to you until the next day. So that's after hours. So that's one thing I just recommend, the notifications. I get it just for peace of mind if it's after hours. Okay, so the next I think I want to go over is setting up your facility profile. You want to complete this kind of profile to tell us more about your business, to learn what uses, what are you using, what are you using the most energy and then find ways to save. So just simply answer a short questionnaire about your facility type, your square footage, the year your facility was built, description of your business, and type of heating. We can then complete and set your setup, and you receive a customized energy savings report, and then you can analyze your costs, usage, complete a rate analysis, and find ways to save. So again, these questions will help out a lot for us giving recommendations. And then this information will be always available 24/7, 7 days a week. So again, this is a good tool, and this is where the link where you actually start and answer those questions. So payment options is another thing I always recommend doing, setting up payment arrangements. A lot of people set up payments through their bank account, and then what the bank does is mail us a check, and we don't always see it. If you set up a payment through PG&E, we can see it's pending. Even though if you actually schedule a payment, we can still see in the system, whether it be a day later or a month later, we can still see it pending until that day. And if it rejects for any type of reason, we can actually notify you and give you a reason why it was notified, if it was a digit off with the routing number or account number. So I always recommend setting up recurring payments on PG&E side. The payment options, and you could either set up recurring payments, set up payment plan, and schedule a payment out if it's a large bill, or if you need more time to pay. One thing, if you set up recurring payments, I always recommend, if you need to set up a payment plan, stop the recurring payments first, and then setting up the payment plan second. Because even though if you set up a payment plan, they'll conflict. Excuse me. But yeah, and that's one thing I always recommend is the payment plan, knowing where to set up a payment plan or set up recurring payments. Lieu of deposit is a great program. If there's a deposit for a new customer, you can get it waived by setting up these recurring payments and having the balance paid in full. So that is a great tool. We have a great program for our business customers and residential. Okay. So this is kind of my favorite kind of tool. It's our cost and usage tool. This is, everything when I get an escalation, I use, and I always recommend when customers have questions about their bill, whether they're calling me, another rep, or the call center, to have this ready. And that way, you can see everything we're seeing. So you can look at the hours, you can look at the whole bill on these graphs. You can break it down per day. You can even break it down your usage per hour. So, and by having this tool available for our customers, it shortens the call and the conversation so much. Before this, I was taking 30, 40, 50-minute calls, and now they're like 5 minutes. So it's a great tool to have. I always love seeing this, especially if you have an event going on. If a customer has an event, they could see what they used, how much they used for that, that day or that weekend. The rate analysis tool is a good tool if you want to make sure, if you want to do rate analysis to see if you're on the best plan. For new customers, we need at least 3 months of usage before we can recommend using this tool and recommend a rate. So it doesn't work right away. We have to see what your usage is, and then after usually about 3 months, the customer can log on, select the rate analysis, and it'll give you options on what we recommend based on your usage. So, and you can actually go on that at pg.com/rate analysis, or again on the main screen, it's going to be the rate analysis button. The Ways to Save tool, again, is another good feature as well. It gives you recommendations of what to do during the summer, winter, fall, doesn't matter what season. We'll give you recommendations on what to ways to save. There's a long list to do. There's a long recommended list on different ways to save. It's every situation's different, every customer's different. I always recommend looking at these and getting a handful that you can do easily, and then doing it. And it's one thing that I've helped customers doing by just simply changing the temperature a certain a couple degrees. Their water heater temperature lowered in the summertime, and it does impact the bill pretty good in a good way if they just look at these ways to save. And then you can find additional savings and solutions for your business at pg.com/BRC. And I want to make sure everybody can still hear me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. So next would be the SMB vendor diversity. We at PG&E, we want to strengthen your business, the resiliency by partnering with PG&E to meet the challenges involving the industry. Diverse suppliers remain a key priority in our mission to deliver safe, reliable, affordable, clean energy to our customers and communities. You can definitely get more information about this at pg.com supply chain responsibility. Now, energy efficiency resources. This is something that I love. With our business customers, there's a lot of different programs that we offer. It just depends on every customer's different. There's a lot of energy efficiency programs, incentives, rebates. Their direct install program. We send contractors out to do audits to let them know, okay, if you upgrade your lighting, you're going to save X amount of dollars off your bill, and then there might be incentives they have on top of that. So I've seen customers save 40 to 60% off of the equipment alone. And then what we can do, we have an on-bill financing where if the customer doesn't have the funds, we can provide the funds to do the actual upgrades, and it'll basically go on their bill as a payment. So we can spread that out, and it's 0% interest. It's a great tool, and a lot of customers are taking advantage of it. And again, a lot of customers don't know we have it. So it is one of my main one of my main actual subjects I talk about every day is these direct install programs or energy efficiency resources. There's a lot. So if you do have any questions, we'll definitely get a energy efficiency expert out there to do an audit, and then that's kind of the first step we do and go from there. Okay, so additional business resources, we have our EDR, which is our economic development rate. PG&E reduces electricity rates to help businesses and customers stay afloat and to maintain jobs in California. We'll lower the cost through one of 3 reduced electrical rate options. The rates discounted are between 12, 18, 25% of your electric costs for 5 years. There's also free online courses for energy education. I've taken a number of those courses. They're very helpful. And so you can gain new skills and fuel your kind of, knowledge of, our programs and resources. And
how do you qualify for that?
For the online education or just our energy efficiency programs?
The EDR.
There's a couple different, and I can send an email. There's a couple different factors that come into play. I think the location you're in, it varies on the percentage you're going to get. So I can send more information about that as well. Or if you go to pg.com, the / economic development, it'll give you the qualifications. So the customer does have to qualify, and if they, depending on where they fit, will provide that the rate.
Okay.
And then again, the state of California has additional resources as well, especially with COVID-19. You go to covid19.ca.gov/business and employers. There's a lot of additional resources. So I always recommend customers, if they need help, reach out to us. We'll have myself or one of our team members to assist the customers, making sure that they understand not just the question about a certain program, but all of our programs. So, you know, a customer may be asking about one thing, but they might qualify for a bunch of other programs or incentives. So that's kind of, we try to do one-stop shop. So, and you know, that's what we try to do in this department anyway.
Inga, I just want to do a quick time check. Okay, we're at questions. Perfect.
Yes, trying to
And
run it
I've
through.
put some links in the chat as Earl was giving the presentation. So there's links to the different programs that he was talking about, including the EDR program and the energy efficiency programs. All right. And Inga, will pass it back to you to facilitate whatever time we have left on questions.
And this is for Leonard, our fearless leader, who's muted.
Thanks, Earl and Sarah, for the presentation. I really enjoy learning about the different programs, especially about the wildfire information. And actually, I do have a lot of alerts on my personal side that I get all the time. So thank you for that. And it's nice to be updated when the power goes out and you're notified of the time frames and things like that. It's really helpful. So if you guys don't have that on your personal side, I'd recommend it, because I do, and it's great. I have not done that on the business side, but I will do that. So that's great. Anyone have any questions for the group?
So it seems like the rates and any kind of programs for relief, we go on the website and kind of just work our way through that. And there's several different options. I had an opportunity to have a residential property and get news service, and they're asking me questions about what rate do you want? What rate do you want? And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
The lowest.
Yeah, lowest, whatever that means. And they know you have to A, B, or C. And so certainly in the beginning, it's kind of a blind deal. But I guess that's why after 3 months, then you can evaluate it. It makes more sense.
Yeah, it's a hard question question we have to we have to ask the customers, because we don't. I mean, obviously, every new when you move into a new home, the square footage might be different, even though if it's the same type of building your next door neighbor has, or your family member, and there's several factors that come into play. You might have 2 people live in the home and they have 10 people living in the home, or 4 people living in the home. So there's several different factors that come into play. And my thing, I always recommend, if you don't know, we could come up on agreement on a certain rate. Then always you can monitor your rates, or your usage any up to the hour with our electricity. Gas is once a day, so we ping the meter every hour for electricity, and then after 3 months we can make a recommendation. One thing I always recommend doing is on the alerts button, I love doing, is setting up a threshold on a dollar amount. Once your bill hits a certain dollar amount, you're notified. And I always recommend setting that up, because I don't have PG&E in my area. I have SMUD, they don't have that feature. I have gas, but it wouldn't be nice if, you know, my other utility, I would have that feature. But yeah, one thing I love about the PG&E alerts is that dollar threshold. You can set a dollar amount where you're notified if your bill hits $200. Okay, great. I need to start conserving better.
So I do have a question though. When you say programs, what do you mean by different programs or different rates?
Like programs, well, there's time of use plans. There's, depending on how much usage, what you're using, because there's ag rates, there's you know, small business rates, there's, you know, rates for larger customers, our business customers, industrial. So it all depends on what type of account you set up, and then there's rate options. So
There's even EV rates now. So I actually just did this like 2 days ago because my bill at our rental was a little bit crazy, and customer service, I will say, is great. So talked to them, they went into my account, they looked at, you know, the last few months of what we were using, when peak usage was, and they actually recommended a rate for us based on what they could see in the account. So it's totally worth calling. Our customer service reps are amazing and will totally go through the whole process with you, because I had no idea. I'm just like, why does my bill look like this? So
Okay,
definitely recommend that.
You know, it is funny. I don't get on Nextdoor a lot, but I hear a lot of complaining on Nextdoor about PG&E rates just skyrocketing. What is that all about?
So, you know, we actually don't make money on gas and electricity. So it's essentially a pass through. So when the price of the commodity goes up, then for us, then the price of the commodity goes up for you. So as we all know, the price of gas is exorbitant right now, and it has been. And because of that, that price just gets passed through to you. So that, I mean, so the bills have been crazy. I mean, I have I have solar panels at my home, and we were heating the pool, which was not a good thing to do, and had a bill went from like $100 to $500 because the price of gas increased so much. So we have tips and tools on how to decrease the cost of your bill. Inga, I'll share those with you. I think we actually just saw a press release come out today on that with the summer months coming up. And we have information consistently that comes out. So I'll send it over to Inga, and she can decide what to share and what to put in the chamber newsletter. But as those issues come up, we try to be proactive about notifying customers of that and giving tips on how to reduce the cost of the bills. But unfortunately, it's a pass through. So we pay more for gas and electricity, so you pay more for gas and electricity.
Yeah, I think the more information you can share with us in the chamber, because that's something I think the people, I mean, it's like for me, for instance, PG&E is PG&E. It's kind of like paying taxes. It's like you just have to do it, and you just deal with it. But realizing that there's programs out there, different rate plans that you can talk to PG&E about to try and control your bill or set up alerts, like you were saying, Earl, would be huge. And I think those are things we can get out to the community and let them know that it's out there and there's programs out there to help out. And to understand also the pass-through rates, because everyone makes PG&E out to be the bad guy, and it's not really that way.
Yeah, and then a lot of times, actually, like if you're in a CCA, like you're not paying us for the electricity, you're paying your CCA, but we still get, you know, it's still PG&E, but yeah.
Right. Well, thank you. Anything else from anyone?
I just want to tell you, I know the summer season, we're here, school's out. I experience this a lot with my position in the call center, with PSPS approaching, the wildfire season approaching. If you're going out to wildfire areas, if you don't know, have those alerts where you're going to be, and so like the PSPS, that way you're notified. I don't know how many times people are calling in not knowing that they're actually approaching a wildfire area, and that they're going to be camping or going to a cabin or going to a resort, and there's a PSPS watch pending. So that's one thing I always recommend before you travel. Just, go on to our website, or, you can actually get notification on the zip code you're going to be in. That way you're going to be notified as well.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you guys very much. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to share with our group and the community. And thank you for the information we're about to get so we can share it out with the Dublin Chamber of Commerce people. Thank you guys all for everything you've done today. I sure appreciate it. Upcoming events for the Chamber will be on the website for information. June 22nd, we have the luncheon with Supervisor David Halbert. And also the fireworks stand. You can purchase the fireworks from the Dublin Chamber.
No, Women's Club.
Women's Club, I'm sorry. To the Women's Club, my mistake. The booth is in the parking lot of Rigatoni's between June 20th and July 4th. It is a great time if you're bored and you want to come out and help. It is a blast to be out there. September 26th, the Chamber is hosting a golf tournament at Dublin Ranch Golf Course, so we'd like you guys to join us. And this will be available on Dublin's YouTube channel as well. And thank you all for attending. I sure appreciate the time and effort you guys put into this, Sarah and Earl. And Claudia, thank you guys so much. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a great day, everyone. Have a good
Bye.
weekend.
Thanks.